This is Jericho Plays, and today we're going to be playing the Vintage Cube on Magic the Gathering Online. It's one of my favorite events, and it always seems to bring me back even when I don't necessarily play that much MTGO anymore. I play much more Magic Arena, and I will hopefully be putting videos of Magic Arena on the channel in the coming weeks. Alright. Well, I like the Craterhoof Behemoth. There's nothing that screams out to me here other than the Craterhoof Behemoth, or possibly the Deceiver Exarch. The Deceiver Exarch is part of a combo with Splinter Twin or with Kiki Jiki to make an infinite number of Deceiver Exarchs and kill your opponent, so I could take it in the hopes that I find one of those other two pieces. There is redundancy. There's actually quite a bit of redundancy with the Deceiver Exarch part of that combo, so I'm okay with passing it here in favor of Craterhoof Behemoth, because Craterhoof Behemoth is kind of a one-ish card combo. You take all the mana dorks, and you end up just killing your opponent. Alright, I'm going to take Blightsteel Colossus here. There's a lot of potential. The other card that kind of comes out to me is either Misty Rainforest or Yawgmoth's Will. I don't know if I want to play Storm on my first time playing MTGO in several months, just because it's a very difficult deck to play. The Misty Rainforest fetch lands are always good, and it would open me up to being maybe green-blue, green-red, just a bunch of different combinations. The Blightsteel Colossus is interesting this early because I can get stuff to cheat it into play and possibly kill my opponent in one hit. So I'm going to take the Blightsteel here. So what I want to see are mana dorks like Birds of Paradise or a way to cheat in the Blightsteel Colossus. I see the Birds of Paradise, so I'm probably going to take it. There are some signets here that we could ramp, but the Craterhoof deck really wants mana dorks because the Craterhoof Behemoth will pump all of these 1-mana creatures up for a lethal attack on your opponent, and you want a bunch of them because they get bigger for the number of creatures that you have. The Woodfall Primus is another really good top end for green. There's a lot of planeswalkers and a lot of non-creature permanents in this sort of environment, so being able to kill that in green is really nice, but Birds of Paradise is so good. If we find pieces for Blightsteel Colossus, we can cast it off the birds. It's a very good pickup here. I could take Mystical Tutor if I thought that I would get, not Sneak Attack, but Through the Breach for Blightsteel Colossus. Emrakul the Promised End is an interesting possibility. I almost want to take the Plow Under here and kind of maybe be mono green control. Plow Under can be very powerful if you ramp it out really quickly. If you can play a Plow Under on while your opponent only has 3 lands or so, it can be a pretty brutal setback. Polukranos is good, it's just a good medium beater. I'm going to take Polukranos and just be safe. Wilderness Reclamation is an interesting possibility. It only untaps lands though. It's much better in like a blue-green control deck, which we're still relatively early in the draft, so we could do that. It's a very powerful card. Thief of Sanity is also very powerful. Again, I could take a fetch land here. In fact, I think I will. I think this is a pretty safe time to take one. I don't care much for any of these cards. Liliana of the Veil is a house in Modern. In Cube, she's not as good. She can still be very powerful, but a lot of people aren't doing creature-based strategies, so her minus isn't as good. So I could take Unburial Rites, and maybe we can go for a little bit of Reanimator. Blightsteel Colossus does not work in that because it has a Shuffle Clause if it were to go into the graveyard. I could take Godless Shrine here. It's a dual land that I can get with Verdant Catacombs, and that opens up a lot of possibilities for us. Yeah, there's just not a lot here. I think I'm just going to take the Godless Shrine. We may be shifting over as we're not getting a lot of green. Search for Tomorrow is interesting. Taking the Reanimation spell, Ashen Rider would have been pretty good. Wasteland is interesting. I'm going to try to force green for the moment. It's still relatively early. It's not a huge deal if we have to peace out. Stomping Grounds is good. Red is the color that will help us with Blightsteel Colossus, and we can get this with the Verdant Catacombs. Double blue on a Mystic Snake is probably too tough for us to do right now. Okay, so we're probably going to go into white because this pack has a lot of white. I could take Hangerback Walker to kind of open myself up, or I could take Buried Alive. Maybe we saw a lot of pieces of Reanimator go around. Let's do that. That sounds like fun. We may not win, but that sounds like fun. We saw quite a few pieces of Reanimator. Survival of the Fittest works in both our deck and Reanimator. It helps us find Craterhoof Behemoth, but it also lets us discard a big card into our graveyard to reanimate. That's fine by me. I think a Signet is good here. Help us ramp a little bit. If we're black, Vraska's Contempt could be good removal, and I don't really care for Bazaar or Mutavault right now. Oh, the Wilderness Reclamation came back. Well, I'll take it now. It could be good with Pelucranos, get a big monstrous, give us mana for Survival of the Fittest activations. Not in a clear zone right now. We are really going to want Pack 2 to give us a better idea of what we're doing. The Reanimation spell did not come back. I like Goblin Dark Dwellers is honestly one of my favorite cards ever printed. I just love its flavor so much. I love what it does. All right, a Mox is a very powerful option. Show and Tell is interesting. We could take Show and Tell. That works with the Blightsteel Colossus. There's always the possibility that our opponent has an Emrakul and puts that into play as well. But if we go into black, we might be able to take stuff like Mesmeric Fiend to remove what they want to put into play from their hand. Now, Mox are very powerful. It's not really the color that we want right now, which is fine. It's still a very powerful thing because having 2 mana on turn 2, 3 mana on turn 3, possibly 4 mana on turn 3 is very powerful. But I kind of like Show and Tell because it's such a unique thing. Here we go. Okay. I'm liking this more. There is a Shallow Grave if we wanted to be true Reanimator, but so Tinker lets us sack the Selesnya Signet to find Blightsteel Colossus. So I think we're definitely moving more towards building around this Blightsteel Colossus in Pack 2. And there's the Through the Breach. All right, we have found what we're doing. Now we just need to hope that there's enough stuff for it to happen. Crocus is a very powerful card in Cube because there's a lot of legendary creatures that can get shut down by just getting bounced every turn. So Corpse Dance is interesting. We kind of hedge again more into Reanimator. I almost want to take the Disallow here because I think we're doing a hard shift into Izzet, and we might be a more control-y deck. There's an Emrakul. Perfect. That goes with our Show and Tell Through the Breach plan. All right, this is getting better. Not a lot of great cards here. I think I'm going to take the Porcelain Legionnaire because it's an artifact. So Tinker, I can sacrifice it to Tinker. I'm putting it in the 2-drop slot because you can pay for this Phyrexian mana with life. Lightning Greaves is interesting. It's something I can tinker or I can protect a creature, although we don't really have a lot of creatures right now, and well, it would actually be good with Show and Tell because we can put our thing into play and then give it haste. So even if they have an Emrakul, we can put our Emrakul in first and give it haste. Yeah, let's take that. That's interesting. Terramander is good. That's a good backup win condition. We're not really super deep into red right now. Ooh, there's the Mesmeric Fiend. I almost want to go back into green and be green-blue because we can already fetch the Stomping Grounds with the Verdant Catacomb. What would I take then? I could take Overgrown Tomb. I kind of want to take Mesmeric Fiend though, because if we're splashing a color, I want to pick our opponent's hand apart if I'm playing Show and Tell. Still unsure of really what we're doing. I'm liking where this is going so far. Not a huge fan of any of these. I could take Smokestack just because it's an artifact. I don't really want to do that. We're not really in white. We might be in black, so I guess I'll take a Glint Sleeve Siphoner. I'm happy to take this Scrap Heap Scrounger. We might have a reanimation thing. We don't have that many cards right now. We're going to need to throw a deck together. We have pieces. This double blue on Disallow might not be a thing. We might just be splashing. I like the Beaumont Courier. We have a lot of targets for Tinker. I really wish that we had taken the Mystical Tutor in pack 1. Because we could have gotten Tinker or Through the Breach with it. It would have been very good. This is an artifact, or Spear of Heliod is also an artifact, but not one that I'm probably playing. Man, I wish we had taken Mystical Tutor. That would have been really good. As it is, we might have trouble finding Tinker. Okay. We're going to take Imperial Seal here, and we're going to go into black-blue. It is card disadvantage, but we are wanting to win essentially immediately. We want tutors to find the pieces that we need. There are really good cards in here, like Remand is pretty good, Thirst for Knowledge is pretty good, Time Warp is pretty good, Worn Power Stone. Like, there are a lot of really good cards in here, but I honestly think that because our deck is so light on what we're trying to do, we want redundant pieces. We can bring back the Vraska's Contempt, the Mesmeric Fiend, I guess the Siphoner, although I'm not super happy with it. Languish, because we don't have any creatures, we don't have that many creatures on our own. Jace, okay. Let's just make sure I'm not making a mistake here. Nope, I'm pretty happy with Jace. We can have raw card advantage, but Jace is an alternate win condition and is very strong. The Academy Ruins is also very strong, but we're not, like, Mindslaver locking our opponent. We don't really need to recast these artifacts. Negate, Smuggler's Cop. Ooh, Baleful Strix. There we go. Oh, Goblin. Well, actually, Goblin Welder doesn't really work with what we're trying to do because Blightsteel Colossus shuffles in. There might be, I believe there's a trigger. There might be a trigger. Emrakul and Blightsteel have slightly different shuffle clauses, and I can never really remember which one is which. But Baleful Strix is an excellent card for this deck. It draws us a card, it trades with something, and we can tinker it away. Trinket Mage would let us get Beaumont Courier? No. I could do Chrome Mox, fix our mana. I think I may just take Brainstorm. We really want to try to win on turn 3 or 4. Okay, I'm getting pretty happy with this deck. I like this Signet because it gives us red for the Through the Breach. There is a Mystic Confluence, but again, I really don't want to go that long that I'm casting 5 mana spells. The Through the Breach is not the main game plan. It is an extra game plan over Tinker and Show and Tell. Do I want to wheel? I could play Nicol Bolas Godpharaoh. That's pretty powerful. Do I want to wheel, though? That makes it much harder because I would have multiple red spells, although Nicol Bolas is the same thing. Although this can also interact with our opponent where wheel cannot. Discarding doesn't matter too much because we would shuffle our library or our graveyard. I'm going to take the wheel. I don't know if I'm going to play it. So there's the Splinter Twin. I could actually take that here, although I probably should take Wandering Fumarole, because there's the slim chance that we can play the Splinter Twin. The Imperial Recruiter doesn't really do what I want. It's really between the land and the Splinter Twin. Our mana base is garbage right now, so I probably should take the Wandering Fumarole, but I'm going to take the Splinter Twin because I'm a sucker for it. Oh, and there's the Kiki Jiki. That's funny, but we're going to take Steam Vents here. So I'm much happier taking Steam Vents over Wandering Fumarole because I can have Steam Vents enter untapped. And again, we really want to be winning on turn 3 or 4 if possible. I guess I'm taking Time Warp here. I'm going to take Mana Confluence. Our mana base is just really bad, and so I really want to pick up what I can. This deck doesn't look terrible. Oh, that's fantastic. This lets us get Steam Vents. So there's the deck. It's not a great deck, but let's have some fun with it. I definitely don't have as much interaction as I would have liked. We only have the Mesmeric Fiend, but we do have a few ways of winning. So if we get Thought Seized, we can still win. Okay, I mean, we're keeping this. Hopefully our opponent doesn't have a turn 1 Thoughtseize. Nope, they're on green. Let's Beaumont Courier. I may Brainstorm next turn. Ooh, that's a thought. There's a risk that I exile win conditions with the Beaumont Courier. Okay. Bitter Blossom. I will laugh a little bit, just a little bit, if I exiled both Emrakul and Blightsteel Colossus under this Beaumont Courier. I'm going to Brainstorm on end of turn here because I want to see if I can show and tell. Oh. Why did that happen? I hit 2, pass until responses. I should be hitting 1. That's my mistake. I haven't been playing for a while. That's a little disappointing, but okay. So I can hold up Disallow and Brainstorm. Or I can play Terramander and Brainstorm. I think I just want to hold up Disallow. But that's a little disappointing. They didn't play a land pre-combat. I'm going to let that happen. I really want to Brainstorm. Yeah, I had it. I would have had the Blightsteel Colossus. That's disappointing. Do this. Because this gives them a whole nother turn with Sylvan Library to find something. And that's really disappointing. What does this read? Yes, they vote first, right? So they want Homage. But this gives them a lot of draws to find an answer to this Blightsteel Colossus, whereas if I had been able to do it on turn 3, they wouldn't have had as many draws. So that's disappointing. Like, they could have Vincer here and bounce it back to our hand. Okay, this is a good sign that they're continuing to draw. If I can untap with this Disallow, I'll be in a much better position. The colors that they're playing don't have a lot of exile effects. They have destroy effects. So we're going to continue to expand the board in case this Blightsteel doesn't get there. We're going to play out the Mana Confluence instead of the Stomping Ground to play around Miscalculation. So they have to chump with 2 fairies here because the opponent loses if they take 10 poison. So they're currently at 9 poison. So if there was a way for me to proliferate, I would win. So they get a lot of draws. But I do have the Disallow, which is good. I don't want them to see my deck. That's what they're trying to do here, is see my deck. Actually, they would get Emrakul. So it was a good thing that that happened. Well, we won a game. I think I want Kolaghan's Command over Wheel of Fortune. We saw the Coercive Portal plus being able to 2-for-1 the Tireless Tracker could be really good. We need to be careful of bribery, because if they bribery our Emrakul, we're going to lose. But again, we're trying to win on turn 3 or 4, not turn 5. So they mold. This is okay. This is not a great hand. I am going to keep it. I don't think the London Mulligan is on MTGO anymore. It is not. Oh, that was a good draw. It helped combo decks a lot. Like, I would mulligan a lot more, like with the deck we currently have, if I had the London Mulligan, because I'm only looking for three things. I'm 100% attacking into this Avacyn's Pilgrim because I don't really want... Ooh. Because I don't want them to... Okay, so they clearly want that mana, which I can't do anything about, but I can play this Izzet Signet, which lets us Kolaghan's Command. Okay. Okay. I'm going to have them discard a card rather than destroy the clue because they will have to pay 2 mana to pop the clue. So that's more of kind of a tempo. But this was exactly why we brought Kolaghan's Command in. It's always possible that we're exiling our win conditions with the Beaumont Courier, but the truth is that it is card advantage because I can pitch my hand that contains Emrakul and it will shuffle my graveyard. Ooh. I guess I did not help myself there. It's when it enters and when it leaves. Is that correct? Or dies, yeah. Oof. So they have a 4/5. What is this going to be? Garrick? Okay. They didn't kill my Beaumont Courier, so I'm going to get stuff off that. Nice. Well, that's actually not nice because we're going to be pitching it. Now, I need to make sure I don't mess this up. So not great. This Ashen Rider survives Languish. But we're attacking for 5. They're attacking for 4. That's not bad. Don't think we're languishing. I'm going to get to draw an extra card next turn. It's going to need to be a really good card. That Vraska's Contempt would have been a really good card for us to have. So they had a land in hand. If they draw any creature, they can get their best creature with Survival of the Fittest. They completely switched decks, as an aside. They were running blue, and now they are not. So they moved into Reanimator. So I don't think me having them pitch a card was necessarily the incorrect play, because I didn't know they were Reanimator. They weren't in game 1. So if they attack me for 5, I go to 3. I swing in, I put them to 3. I don't have any burn, and then I'm dead to the Ashen Rider. I have... Tinker doesn't save me. I think I am just dead. I do... Well, actually, there is a line where I draw 2 relevant cards next turn because I draw 1 for turn and then 1 with the Glint Sleeve Siphoner. So what 2 cards could I possibly get? Lightning Greaves and Tinker win me the game, because I can Tinker the Izzet Signet after using it for mana to get Blightsteel Colossus and equip Lightning Greaves to it and give it haste. Boy, I wish this Languish was a damnation. So, actually, they're not dead to Blightsteel Colossus, because they would have enough to go to 9. Yes. And I'm dead. Alright, let's go to game 3. So what can I do to stop them being Reanimator? Do I have anything? Not have them pitch a card would be helpful. Yeah, I definitely don't want Wheel of Fortune. I think we're just going to keep everything the same, but with Kolaghan's Command not having them discard a card. This is not a good hand. This is only good if we got Show and Tell. Okay. I guess we have the Dream Imperial Seal for a land. I can get the blue-red land. Okay, that's actually... Well, I'm on the play, so I would be behind. I actually have to bottom this. I think we're going to lose this game. This is my best shot. Alright. Alright, round 2. Our hand is looking pretty good. We just need any of our myriad of artifacts for this to be really nice. We have all of the colors that we want. Ooh, I would love to draw my Beaumont Courier. Alright, so I really need any of our 2 or less artifacts here. Disappointing. Well, we're going to Mesmeric Fiend. This is probably going to eat a removal spell, but if our opponent doesn't understand the interaction, we could get them. Okay, they do. So we're going to take Lightning Bolt. That way, they have to use Path to Exile or Council's Judgment. So Path to Exile on the Mesmeric Fiend ramps us. So that's really good for us. That's why I took the Lightning Bolt instead. Because now that means that we're closer to actually playing through the breach, so either one of our strong cards would probably be a win. We just need to find them. Imperial Seal would be an excellent draw. Again, any artifact is probably an excellent draw. Although, since we're close to 5 mana, if it's an artifact creature, I might hold on to it so that I don't get lightning bolted. They're not dealing a ton of damage. Now, they do have Council's Judgment, so Tinker actually is not good anymore. The Council's Judgment will be able to kill the Blightsteel Colossus. The Disallow is nice. Their hand is really good, so I doubt that they would pop this Beaumont Courier, but if they did, I'm going to let that resolve, because that's just a win condition for us. If they did pop the Beaumont Courier, I could stifle it, and they wouldn't have any cards. We know that they have a Council's Judgment and a Lightning Bolt in hand. They discarded Council's Judgment and Lightning Bolt. What is going on? Maybe they're planning on discarding their hand? That doesn't make much sense. Okay, we're definitely going to disallow that. Alright, Emrakul off the top, and we win. Imperial, okay, so we could try for next turn. So Emrakul doesn't kill them outright, but it does get rid of a lot of their permanents. Whereas Blightsteel Colossus, Emrakul is just much safer in case they have another Swords to, like if they have Swords to Plowshares. Our opponent doesn't know what we grabbed because it's one of those tutors that doesn't reveal because it can be any card, which is very important for us because they might not play any more permanents and then we get all of them. Of course, they could have Gideon's Triumph and kill our Emrakul. Alright, well, we have the mana. We can get there if their hand is really slow. They're going to get to draw a million cards from this Beaumont Courier. We were one turn too late on pretty much everything. We're dead. Okay. Their deck is so fast. I wish my deck was that fast. I'm trying to win on turn 3. If we draw an island, we are in excellent shape. We're just getting bodied, annihilated over here. And they're holding back Black Lotus, so if they do have a path to exile for this Blightsteel Colossus, we're still gonna die. So Island, Tinker, equip Lightning Greaves, try to kill him? Nope. We've gotten one game win. 1-4. Alright, here we go. We won the die roll, so that's a good first step. This is a decent hand. We have all of our colors. We have artifacts. We may not even have to pay life for this Porcelain Legionnaire. I expect to get Thoughtseized. Oh, blue, maybe even worse. I want to get a creature down, because if this is a control deck, the more creatures you have early, faster we can kill them. Is this going to get like Soul Ring? Sensei's Defining Top. Black Lotus. Oh, okay. You know, like you do. You know what? I'm okay with that. Okay. Their Storm. That's why they didn't play the Black Lotus. Interesting. I'm going to get Blightsteel Colossus here because it wins in one hit rather than Emrakul, which would destroy all their permanents but would leave them at 3. But I do need them to tap out so that this is safe. I might just Time Warp to try to bait out a counterspell if they have it. Gush. Okay. If the way that they're winning is by mill, we're actually fine because Emrakul will shuffle. If it's Tendrils of Agony, we could lose. I'm going to get a Scrap Heap Scrounger. Also, kind of sneaky. If they Tendrils me for exactly 18, I can Vraska's Contempt my own Scrap Heap Scrounger. I'm not going to F6, because if they play Palancron, I want to Vraska's Contempt in response. It used to show a Storm counter in this client, and I know that they're on Storm because of Mind's Desire, so maybe they don't have a Storm card in hand? Do I want to do anything? I could Brainstorm, but what am I brainstorming into? Nothing. These are all good hands, which means I'm probably going to get a terrible hand. Actually, does this matter? So I could disallow so that I keep through the breach, and I could Imperial... So, hold on. Imperial Seal 1 mana. Baleful Strix 2 mana. Yes, I think I can win from this position. We're gonna pay 2. Yeah. All right. So there's Storm. Is there anything I can do about Storm? I don't have a way to exile graveyards. Kolaghan's Command can break a Black Lotus before they want to use it. The Wheel of Fortune to get rid of their Black Lotus, I think, was the correct play, because our hand was mediocre. But do I want to keep a draw 7 in against Storm? And I don't think that's the case. I think the fact that I used it doesn't mean I should do it every time. I think it was just good fortune. I guess I keep Vraska's Contempt because they could have. We have a lot of basics. Should I bring in Magus of the Moon? Well, they're doing red anyway, so I don't know if that hurts them that much. I think this is fine. Well, this is not a great hand, but we'll keep it. Again, it's always scary. It's always scary that I might exile the stuff that I need underneath the Beaumont Courier. Normally I would play the Signet there, I think, but I really, really want to get some creatures down to make my clock faster. So next turn, I'm going to play Mana Confluence and then hold up Disallow. Assuming they're going to get Black Lotus, are they going to play it this time? Ooh, wheel? Okay. Well, I mean, we're going to tinker. They have 2 turns because the Trinket Mage... Maybe I should have attacked with the Scrap Heap Scrounger so that they didn't have 2 toughness. Because the Trinket Mage makes it so that I have to attack twice with the Blightsteel Colossus. I guess I could draw Kolaghan's Command off the top, but this does vastly increase the clock. And if you hear heavy breathing... That is my cat Bruce. So they're going off. I really hope that their win condition is mill, because if it is, we're going to get them. Time Twister. Okay. Well, I missed my Disallow, but Mesmeric Fiend is probably good. And am I going to be able to... No, I won't be able to Time Warp next turn. That would have been perfect. But like Mesmeric Fiend taking Yawgmoth's will could be brutal, or taking their win condition. Assuming I don't die this turn. They have 6 mana available with 7 cards from a Time Twister. So they could have redrawn Black Lotus. That's why they play Dark Ritual and Black Lotus, is because since they were shuffling their graveyard into their deck, they might have drawn them again. But I don't know, this feels very desperate. If it were me, if I were on Storm, I probably would have waited 1 more turn until this Blightsteel Colossus was going to kill me. Just because you need a critical mass of things to go right in order to actually go off. Okay, Dark Petition. So now they can go find whatever they want. They don't have Spell Mastery. Interesting. So they must have Yawgmoth's Will, yeah. But they're not going to have Spell Mastery again. Am I dead? Do they have Tendrils? Tendrils doesn't kill me, though. They might have a Lightning Bolt to finish me off? Yeah, okay. Well, we won 1. So thank you for watching. I'm going to try to put out some more videos. But again, thank you for watching, and I've been Jericho Plays. Have a great day.